Hello, Dave. Dale, sorry. Hello, Dale. Welcome to Mexico. I presume this is your first visit.
Yes.
Okay. How are you feeling?
Great.
Okay. My first question is, what does MMA stand for?
MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts. MMA started as a way to choose to pit one martial art versus another to see which one was better. But it's kind of evolved into you need to know more of a broad variety of martial arts to be able to compete in. So if you just know one martial art, you won't be able to compete anymore. You need to know jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and Muay Thai and judo to be able to compete.
It's quite difficult to create a game out of nothing, because you have, as EA, boxing games, you have wrestling games, but it must be quite complicated to create a game with all these martial arts styles. Was it a challenge?
It definitely was a challenge. We started with a Fight Night engine and they developed a great game, so it gave us a great base to start from. We had to add in a lot to accommodate all the styles you mentioned before with jiu-jitsu and the ground game and the clinch game where you can hold on to your opponent and fight from there. So a lot of work was done to really refine the engine and change the engine to do that kind of stuff. Luckily I have a brilliant team of engineers and artists and designers back in the studio who did great work and have been able to pull off miracles and make a great game.
I know you're a great MMA fan. That's the reason you developed this game. Does this capture the essence of the competition?
Absolutely. I think that anyone who plays this game is going to, unless they're a really hardcore fan who already knows everything about the sport, you're going to learn some things about the sport, and it's going to make you appreciate watching the sport more by playing this game, just like most EA Sports products do.
Now I have a question. You know that Mexico is the home of the lucha libre, is masked the wrestlers and everything. Now we're having a fierce competition with the WWE, with wrestling, American wrestling. How do you think in such a competitive environment your game will flourish? Do you find it difficult? Do you think you have what it takes?
Well, I think there's definitely a love for the lucha libre and wrestling background. I think there's definitely a passion for that, but I think there's also a passion for competitive fighting games, and I think we deliver that in spades. I think everyone is going to really be able to get in the ring and find out who the best competitor is in our game in a way they've never been able to do before. With our consistent, intuitive controls, they're really going to be able to fight and have a great time with it, and I think it's going to really open up some new doors to people that they haven't tried before.
Lovely. Now, certainly with games such as this, especially because of the graphic violence, do you think that there will be some sort of trouble in games that maybe promote violence, or is it just a sport and it should be taken as such?
Well, we treat it as a sport, and it's a simulation of the sport. We try to be authentic to the sport. We don't, make any of the violence more grand to make it a spectacle or anything like that. It's not a show; it's a sport, and we really try to focus on that. While there's a lot of it is a combat sport. It's no different than boxing or anything else. Someone can get hurt in any of those sports, and in MMA, I think that its record speaks for itself. There's been a few serious injuries, but overall, it's a dangerous combat sport, but no more dangerous than any other combat sport.
Now, as a final question, you said that MMA developed to show which fighting style was best. Which is the best?
None of the best. It's all about matchups. So if you're a ground fighter, it doesn't matter how good you are on the ground with jiu-jitsu if you can't get your opponent to be on the ground with you. So if he knocks you out while you're on your feet, it doesn't matter how good you are on the ground. So it's always about matchups in MMA. It's about taking advantage of your strengths and trying to capitalize on your opponent's weaknesses and trying to avoid their strengths. So it's a really, it's almost a chess match and the strategy involved in MMA.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you.